I can't go back to you, my friend. Don't even ask, don't play pretend.
In the sterile white hospital room, I awoke to a reality more nightmarish than any dream. Machines beeped rhythmically, a stark contrast to the shattered remnants of my once promising future. The scent of antiseptic clung to the air as the harsh fluorescent lights cast an unforgiving glow on my bruised body. The doctor entered, a solemn expression etched on his face. "Mr. Thompson, you've been in a coma for weeks. I'm afraid you missed the funeral." His words hung heavy, a lead weight sinking into my chest. "The funeral?" I croaked, my throat dry and scratchy. "Yes, your bride," he replied, choosing his words carefully. "She was laid to rest while you were in this state. I'm sorry for your loss." Loss. The word reverberated in my mind, echoing through the hollow chamber of my heart. I had no recollection of the accident, no memory of the event that turned our joyous celebration into a somber funeral. As I lay there, grappling with the enormity of the situation, a nurse entered the room. Her eyes carried a mix of sympathy and professional detachment as she adjusted the IV drip. "It's tough, but you're a survivor. You'll find the strength to rebuild." Rebuild. The word echoed, mingling with the shattered fragments of my dreams. The room felt colder, the weight of grief settling in. A soft voice from the doorway interrupted the heavy silence. It was a chaplain, offering words of solace. Sometimes life's most difficult challenges lead us to unexpected places. Let your strength guide you through the darkness. I nodded, the weight of their words sinking in. Shattered dreams, two words that encapsulated the profound loss I was now forced to confront. The room, once a sanctuary of blissful ignorance, transformed into a chamber of harsh truths and painful acceptance. As they left me to grapple with my fractured reality, I whispered to the empty room, "What now?" The echoes of my question lingered unanswered, as if carried away by the wind of an uncertain future. The sterile hospital room became my cocoon, shielding me from the harsh reality that awaited outside. Tubes and wires tethered me to life, but the unseen shackles of an unwanted fate bound me to a future I had no hand in shaping. My parents entered, faces etched with concern but clouded by expectations. The air thickened with tension as they exchanged uneasy glances, and my mother's voice broke the silence. "Benjamin, we were worried sick. You've been through a lot, but now you must focus on your future." Future. The word hung heavy, loaded with the weight of their unspoken intentions. As they broached the subject of my impending marriage to Stacy, their business partner's daughter, the room felt smaller, the air stifling. "But Mom, I can't just accept this. I need time to heal, to understand what happened," I pleaded, my voice strained. My father, a stern figure of authority, leaned forward. "Ben, this union is not just about you. It's about securing our family's future, about business continuity. Stacy is the right choice." I felt the shackles tighten, their expectations becoming an indomitable force. But what about what I want? What about my happiness? I protested, my frustration bubbling to the surface. My mother's voice softened, a feeble attempt to calm the storm. "Benjamin, we know this is difficult, but you'll learn to appreciate Stacy's qualities. It's for the best." Best. The word echoed, a hollow promise. As they left, I felt the weight of their expectations settle on my shoulders. The room, once a sanctuary, now felt like a cage, each breath a struggle against the unseen shackles tightening their grip. Alone, I turned my gaze towards the window, a distant yearning for freedom flickering in my eyes. It was in that vulnerable moment that the hospital chaplain entered, a beacon of solace in the oppressive darkness. Sometimes the path chosen for us is not the one we'd have walked. But strength lies in acceptance, in finding purpose within the confines of destiny. The chaplain spoke, a touch of empathy in his eyes. Destiny. The word resonated, a haunting melody that accompanied the realization that my fate had been decided without my consent. As the chaplain left, I grappled with the unseen shackles, unsure if I could bear the weight they imposed. What purpose is there in a future I never chose? I murmured to the emptiness, the answer eluding me as the room held its secrets, and the unseen shackles tightened their grip. Amid the sterile ambience of my secluded apartment, I couldn't escape the oppressive grip of my parents' expectations. The specter of Stacy, the unwelcome bride-to-be, loomed over me like an impending storm. Desperate for reprieve, I sought refuge in my office, a space where the walls echoed with the muted footsteps of corporate life. As I entered, the rhythmic swish of a mop caught my attention. There, in the mundane chore of office cleaning, danced a figure that defied the somber atmosphere, Allison. The cleaning lady had transformed my office into a makeshift ballroom, the mop her unsuspecting partner. Intrigued, I lingered in the doorway, watching her graceful movements. A melody only she could hear accompanied the delicate sway of her hips. The world outside ceased to exist. It was just her, the mop, and the forgotten melody that filled the room. She paused, mid-twirl, noticing my presence. Her eyes, a striking shade of blue, met mine. "Oh, I didn't think anyone was left in the building," she said, her voice a gentle melody in the silent office. I couldn't help but smile. "No need to stop on my account. You dance wonderfully." A faint blush colored her cheeks as she glanced down. "Thank you. I thought I was alone." "Far from it. You've added a touch of magic to this place," I replied, the weight of the impending engagement momentarily forgotten. Emboldened, she continued, "Well, it's a break from the monotony. Keeps me sane." "You've certainly brightened my day," I said, stepping into the room. "Let me treat you to coffee. You've earned it." As the coffee machine hummed to life, we settled into a makeshift break area. The tension of my unwanted engagement dissipated in the presence of this unexpected dancer. "Can I know the name of such a charming dancer?" I asked, a genuine curiosity in my voice. "Allison. And you?" "I'm Ben. Who doesn't know you, Allison?" Her smile, shy yet genuine, painted the room with a warmth I hadn't felt in weeks. "Well, I appreciate the sentiment. It's not every day a boss catches you dancing with a mop." The coffee break extended into a conversation that flowed effortlessly, navigating through the stilted formalities of the office. As the day unfolded, I found solace in the unplanned dance of life, a dance that connected me to Allison in ways I hadn't imagined. Little did I know, this unexpected encounter would become the turning point, a foil to the unwanted dance of destiny awaiting me outside the confines of my office sanctuary. The rhythmic hum of the coffee machine served as a backdrop to our impromptu coffee break. Allison, the unassuming cleaning lady turned dancer, sat across from me, her eyes a vibrant reflection of the stories hidden behind them. "May I ask you something?" I inquired, leaning in with genuine interest. She nodded, sipping her coffee. "Of course, we're just having coffee. No bosses, no formalities, just be." "Perfect. Allison, you dance wonderfully, but what brings you to cleaning floors?" I asked, curiosity bubbling in my voice. She sighed, a fleeting shadow passing over her expressive eyes. "I'm studying, and I really need a job. Cleaning floors fits my schedule, and it pays the bills." "And your parents? Why don't they support you during your studies?" I pressed gently, sensing the deeper story. A brief pause hung in the air before she responded. "I have no one. My grandmother passed away last year." "I'm sorry," I whispered, realizing the weight behind her eyes. "Thank you. It's just me now," she said, her gaze fixed on the coffee mug. "Dancing. Is it a hobby or something more?" I asked, changing the tone to a lighter one. A genuine smile played on her lips. "I used to take it seriously. Danced every day when my grandmother was alive. But then I couldn't afford lessons anymore." "A serious profession is much more needed," I mused, reflecting on her journey. Allison's eyes met mine, her vulnerability exposed. "I do what I can to get by." As the conversation deepened, the boundaries between boss and cleaning lady dissolved. The coffee break turned into a sanctuary of shared stories, and I found myself drawn to the layers hidden beneath Allison's unassuming exterior. "Allison, what are you doing tonight?" I asked, a spontaneous idea taking shape. "I happen to have a free evening. Going home is not an option. They want to marry me there. I've already overstayed at work today," she replied, a mix of resignation and humor in her tone. A mischievous grin played on my lips. How about I invite you to a movie or a cafe? Please don't refuse, otherwise I'll die of boredom, and it'll be all your fault. Allison chuckled, the warmth of her laughter filling the room. All right, I'll try. We parted ways that evening near her house, the anticipation of an unplanned adventure lingering in the air. As I walked away, I couldn't help but marvel at the unexpected connection forged over a cup of coffee, a connection that promised to unravel the layers of both our lives and the chapters that lay ahead. The decision was made, fueled by an unyielding desire to break free from the chains of an unwanted destiny. With a heavy heart, I packed my bags, leaving behind the familiar walls of my parents' house, the nest that had become both refuge and prison. My mother's eyes welled with unshed tears as I embraced her. Benjamin, we need to talk seriously. If it's about Stacy or the engagement, Mom, I can't bear it right now, I admitted, my voice tinged with the wariness of battles fought within. She guided me to the edge of the bed, her gaze searching mine. Sit down, son. It's not just about that. I complied, curiosity mingling with apprehension. What is it then? She sighed, choosing her words carefully. Ben, you're just glowing. What happened? A successful deal, perhaps? The irony of her assumption hit me. No, Mom. It's much better than a business deal. I fell in love. In love? Her eyes widened, a mix of shock and concern. With whom? With someone who makes my heart feel alive, someone who dances with a mop and dreams amidst the quiet hum of an office coffee machine. I confessed, a hint of defiance in my tone. Her features softened, and she reached for my hand. Ben, love is a beautiful thing, but you're moving so fast. Do you even know this person? I know her enough to see the sparkle in her eyes and the strength in her soul. Mom, I can't go through with the engagement. It's not fair to anyone involved, I explained, the weight of my decision palpable in the air. She searched my eyes, her concern deepening. But Ben, this is your future, our family's future. You can't just abandon everything for a fleeting connection. This isn't fleeting, Mom. It's a revelation. I've been living in shadows, and now I've found a light that guides me. I asserted, my resolve unwavering. She withdrew her hand, a subtle sadness in her gaze. What about your responsibilities, the businesses, our family's legacy? I stood up, the room feeling smaller with each passing moment. I'll find a way to handle those responsibilities without sacrificing my happiness. It's time to live for myself, not for the expectations of others. The decision hung in the air, a pivotal moment of departure from the expected path. I left the room, knowing that my departure from the nest marked not just a physical distance, but a shift in the very essence of who I was becoming. As I closed the door behind me, I felt a mixture of liberation and trepidation. The journey to discover my own path had begun, and I could only hope that the decisions made would lead me to a life where love, not duty, dictated the chapters ahead. Embracing newfound independence, I ventured into the city's vibrant chaos, seeking refuge in the anonymity of unfamiliar streets. The city lights painted the night in hues of possibility, and with each step, I felt the shadows of change enveloping me, a transformation spurred by a dance with destiny. As I settled into a small apartment, the walls echoed with solitude and the promise of a different life. The city outside my window pulsated with energy, a stark contrast to the controlled environment of my parents' house. One evening, as I navigated the city's labyrinth of streets, I stumbled upon a park bathed in the soft glow of streetlights. The air, filled with the melody of urban life, invited introspection. A realization dawned. I was no longer confined by the shadows of an unwanted engagement. In this newfound freedom, I returned to my office, a space that had witnessed the birth of unexpected connections. The office had changed, perhaps mirroring the evolution within myself. The still wet floors and carefully tended greenery, once unnoticed, now stood as symbols of the subtle transformation sparked by the dancing cleaning lady. It was there that I found Allison again, engrossed in her duties. Allison, I called, a sense of camaraderie replacing the formalities of our first encounters. She turned, a mop in hand, and smiled. Ben, you're a rare sight these days. Everything okay? Better than okay, I replied, feeling the weight of the world lifting from my shoulders. I've moved out, started anew. Her eyes widened with surprise and curiosity. That's quite a change. Why the sudden departure? I needed to break free from the shackles of an arranged future. It was suffocating, I confessed. The vulnerability of my truth lay bare. Allison nodded, a silent understanding passing between us. Sometimes we need to step into the unknown to find ourselves. The shadows of change, once daunting, now felt like a gentle embrace. As we conversed in the office that had become a canvas for our stories, I realized that the dance of life had a rhythm of its own, one that echoed with newfound freedom and the promise of a future untethered from expectations. In the city's embrace, amidst the shadows of change, I began to forge a path uniquely mine. Little did I know this journey would weave the threads of our lives together, painting a canvas adorned with the vibrant colors of unexpected connections and the melody of shared laughter. In the wake of my departure from the stifling expectations of my past, a vibrant energy infused my every step. As I immersed myself in the rhythm of city life, the bond with Allison deepened, transcending the confines of our roles as employer and employee. One evening, after a long day of navigating the challenges of my newfound independence, I decided to visit the office. The familiar hum of the coffee machine welcomed me, and there she was, Allison, lost in the familiar dance with the mop. "Ben," she greeted, a warm smile gracing her face. "What brings you here after hours?" I needed a break from the chaos outside. This place feels like a refuge. I admitted, the weight of the city's relentless pace momentarily lifted. Allison set the mop aside, inviting me to join her on the makeshift break area. As we sat amidst the echo of our past conversations, the camaraderie between us grew stronger. The office, once a symbol of corporate monotony, now bore witness to the blossoming of an unexpected connection. "So, how's the new apartment treating you?" she inquired, her eyes reflecting genuine interest. I leaned back, a sense of contentment settling in. It's liberating. I've never felt more in control of my life. And you, Allison, how do you manage between studying and dancing with mops? She chuckled, a lightness in her tone. It's a delicate balance, but I make it work. The city offers so many opportunities, and I want to explore them all. Our laughter filled the room, a testament to the evolving dynamics of our friendship. The office, once a place of routine and formality, had transformed into a haven where two souls found solace in the shared journey of self-discovery. As the evening unfolded, we delved into deeper conversations, sharing aspirations, dreams, and the scars of our respective pasts. The shadows of our individual struggles seemed to dissipate, replaced by the warmth of a connection forged in the crucible of change. "Ben, I never expected our paths to intersect in such a profound way," Allison admitted, her eyes holding a mixture of gratitude and surprise. "Life has a way of weaving unexpected threads, doesn't it?" I replied, appreciating the intricacies of our newfound bond. In the quiet of the office, with only the hum of the coffee machine as witness, our connection solidified. The dance of life, unpredictable and beautifully chaotic, had led us to a place where the echoes of shared laughter became the melody of a friendship that promised to withstand the tests of time. As the days unfolded, the city became a canvas upon which Allison and I painted the chapters of our evolving story. The office, once a mundane workspace, now bore witness to the vibrant tapestry of our shared moments. In the midst of this newfound connection, a promise lingered, a promise of tomorrow, free from the constraints of our pasts. One evening, as the sun dipped below the city skyline, casting hues of gold and pink across the urban landscape, I found myself standing on the rooftop of my apartment building. Allison joined me, the city lights flickering like distant stars. "It's a beautiful view," she remarked, her eyes tracing the horizon. "The city has its own rhythm, doesn't it? A chaotic dance that somehow makes sense." I mused, the promise of tomorrow echoing in my words. Allison nodded, a thoughtful expression on her face. "Life's a dance, and sometimes you find the perfect partner to share it with." Our eyes met, a silent understanding passing between us. The rooftop, far removed from the corporate confines of the office, became a sanctuary where our aspirations and dreams intertwined. I never thought I'd find someone who sees beyond the surface, beyond the titles and expectations. I confessed, my vulnerability lay bare. Allison smiled, a warmth that transcended the cool breeze of the evening. Maybe we're both just looking for something real in a world that often feels unreal. The city below us buzzed with life, a constant reminder that our journey was far from over. Allison, I want tomorrow to be different. I want a future where we can define our own path, I declared, the promise of a shared tomorrow taking root. She placed a hand on my shoulder, her touch reassuring. Tomorrow is what we make of it. Let's embrace the uncertainty together. As we stood on that rooftop, gazing into the city's expanse, the promise of tomorrow felt tangible. The complexities of our past were but stepping stones toward a future we were determined to shape, a future where the dance of life unfolded to the beat of our own hearts. In the quiet of that moment, with the city sprawled beneath us, we made a silent vow to face the uncertainties of tomorrow hand in hand, knowing that the promise we shared would guide us through the unpredictable rhythms of life. As the city's heartbeat pulsed through the streets, our journey took an unexpected turn, casting shadows on the promise of tomorrow. Fate, like an unforeseen tempest, swept us into a whirlwind of sacrifice and profound choices. It started with a phone call that shattered the fragile tranquility we had built. The news of a tragic accident reached me, an accident that left me injured, vulnerable, and grappling with the echoes of sacrifice. Allison, the resilient thread that wove through the fabric of my life, found herself standing at the crossroads of a life-altering decision. In the sterile confines of the hospital room, I lay confined by bandages and casts, my body a testament to the unforeseen twists of destiny. Allison, her eyes mirroring the storm within, stood beside me, a silent pillar of strength. I never anticipated this, she admitted, her voice a fragile melody in the hospital's hushed corridors. Nor did I. The accident became a poignant reminder that life, despite our careful plans, could veer into unexpected territories. Allison, you don't have to sacrifice your happiness for me, I whispered, the weight of gratitude and guilt intertwining. She brushed a strand of hair from my forehead, her touch soothing. Ben, sacrifices are made for the ones we love. I won't let you face this alone. As days turned into weeks, Allison's resilience shone through. She sold her apartment, leaving behind the familiar echoes of her past, and embraced an uncertain future. The sacrifice she made for me, for us, echoed in every shared glance and every tender touch. In the quiet moments, when the hospital room dimmed to a soft glow, our conversations delved into the profound complexities of sacrifice. Allison, you don't have to do this. You have your dreams, your aspirations, I insisted, struggling with the burden of her sacrifice. She smiled, a bittersweet acknowledgment in her eyes. Sometimes love demands a sacrifice, and in sacrificing, we find a different kind of fulfillment. As Allison embarked on this self-imposed journey of sacrifice, I couldn't help but marvel at the depth of her love, a love that transcended the confines of titles and expectations. In her sacrifice, I found an unwavering commitment, a silent vow that spoke louder than words. As the hospital room echoed with the symphony of medical devices and muted footsteps, the sacrifice became a poignant melody, a melody that underscored the profound connection we shared, a connection that withstood the tests of unforeseen trials.